Hi guys and welcome to Garage Reviews, and to this video, Blade Runner the original versus the new one. So guys, I promised you several months ago, if some of you remember, that I'm gonna watch both these movies. I saw the original first and then I saw the new movie. So what do I think about? First, I have to put like a big huge fat disclaimer for everybody that's gonna watch this video that of course guys, everybody has their own opinions, their views, movies are subjective, and I'm not super new to watching old movies at all. I've watched a lot of movies that are before my time, so it's not like this is the first old movie that I ever seen. I mean, I'm talking about the original. So I do have a perspective on it and I want to share that with you, and of course I'm gonna compare it with the new movie. So keep that in mind guys. If you love these movies or any other movies and for some reason I don't, that doesn't affect you at all. We can all have our favorite movies. So since that is out of the way, let's begin. You guys know that I'm brutally honest. I always have been. So when I started watching Blade Runner, the original, because I'm gonna talk about first the original, I was, watching it and I'm like, okay, we have our main character, which is Harrison Ford, but first he wasn't given a very good backstory. We were just explained very briefly that he is a guy that's supposed to deal with the replicas and he's retired, but now they want him back, and that's the whole backstory of him that we ever got pretty much. Then we are introduced to the replicas, but we don't know how they are actually made, what makes them even like the energy source, how they even move around. We know that they don't have very long life expectancy just because it's the way that they're made. We know that they screwed up basically, so the humans want to hunt them down, and we later find out that there are some evil replicas that just gather around. And we know that the guy with the glasses, with the big huge glasses that created them, but there was no really any of the characters in the movie that had like a very deep or well explained story. The whole story of the movie is not well explained in my opinion. The whole setup of how the world works, I mean, we get like the general idea, but the lore is not really deep, it's kind of on the surface. Now when it comes to the replicas themselves, we do have those questions of what is consciousness, how consciousness could begin, develop. You have those things kind of hinted at, explored a bit towards the end of the movie with the bad guy. And I do understand that this is a very, very old movie, so movie makers, in this case Ridley Scott, was just getting into those kind of ideas and they didn't quite know how to, how to present them, how to lay them out. But the way that the whole movie was laid out in terms of story structure and character development, I think that it was extremely poor. I lost interest very fast, maybe 20 minutes in the movie. I was interested by Rachel because she was fascinating even to look at. She's amazingly beautiful and she was kind of mysterious, but then how, Harrison Ford's character couldn't stand the replicas. He was very suspicious of them, rightfully so, and then he liked her very quickly and he kind of ordered her in a way to sleep with him, which was nuts. I don't know how some of the concepts and the way that they're done today are gonna fly. I mean, the lack of character development, the way that the story is told, the way that Harrison Ford approached her and told her that you're gonna kiss me now, you're gonna do this, and I was like, what the heck? This is like trying to explain to somebody they have to have sex with you, but they have no idea, they never did that, they're super innocent, but you really like them, so you want to force them to do that with you. It's like almost doing that to a child. I mean, I felt so bad. It was kind of disturbing to watch that. I didn't expect, to see that. And I understand that she's a robot, she's artificial, but this felt very wrong to me. And I understand that he loved her and that she loved him, especially watching the new movie. But, that whole scene was really odd to me, really disturbing. The way that he killed the other replica, that he started shooting at her, she died gruesomely. That was kind of weird. That other replica, the first one that we saw with the mustache, he was extremely inadequate and weird to me as well. And the main villain was, everything that they said, all the lines that they were speaking were super weird. then the other replicas, the one that was homeless, that connected with that other guy that was supposed to be 25 but he looked 58 or something. Everything in this movie is super awkward and weird, and I just felt very so out of place watching this movie. I was so extremely bored, not able to connect with anything in the movie because everything was, you know, like this scene and this character, he goes and do this and he speaks with that, and then all of a sudden we have the last scene where Harrison Ford is just trying to survive, you know, the bad guy, and he was defeated. And that was the other thing, that for a guy that was supposed to be this veteran fighting the replicas before, and he was so good that they wanted him back, he was getting his ass kicked super bad, like super bad. He was so inadequate, you know, how to fight them, how to deal with them. He was so scared all the time, extremely scared. He was doing reckless things, almost killed himself trying to escape from the bad guy in the last part of the movie. And then that was it. He escaped with Rachel. The movie ended. Okay, that's fine. The way that the bad guy died on his own, I get that, you know, what he said. He said that everything that he saw now is gonna just be destroyed. There's not gonna be any memory of him, of what he saw, because he's dying now. And okay, I understand that. I understand those ideas, but guys, I'm just saying that the way that this movie is done is extremely convoluted and not interesting. I mean, it's rare to see a movie for me that I just want to not watch it. I watched it because I did promise you guys that I'm gonna see the original and see the new one. That's why I did it, but it felt like the biggest chore or one of the worst movie experiences in terms of entertainment value that I had. I mean, I wasn't entertained at all. I just wanted it to end so bad. And then I watched, of course, the new movie, Blade Runner 2049, and that was better, I think. It was better laid out, but overall it was extremely slow paced. I was, again, very bored. But let's talk about how the movie began, you know, with Batista, his character, and the fact that Ryan Gosling's character was a replica, and how he thought that he was the one, you know, that Rachel and Harrison Ford's character had a child. And even that's never explained because it's considered that it's impossible, so, you know, the people that create those replicas should know what it is possible. But it seems like they are creating them so close to humans, you know, the flesh and everything, that's possible. I mean, none of that makes any sense to me. They have to explain somehow how we are even compatible. There's never the notion of a soul really explained. Robin Wright's character says that, you know, Ryan Gosling's character doesn't have a soul, basically. But that's never explored, explained. It's just ideas like thrown, you know, onto the screen, and you're supposed to like connect the things or just think that this is really deep, oh gosh. But the substance there and the presentation, so it can make you feel the substance, I think that it's lacking a lot, at least for me, because I love movies that make me think. So I love movies that have some deeper meanings, and every time that I watch a movie I discover new things and so on, but it has to first, you know, catch my attention. And I think that here just didn't work. I mean, there's some fascinating things like the kid itself, that woman that we saw, her ideas, and there was a hint that because, you know, she's between the two things, she's something special. Okay, of course she's gonna be something special. She's the first of her kind, and she had huge imagination, but that was only possible because she was also half human. So again, these are ideas that are never really truly explored. They just make you think, but they're never explained even a little bit. So the movie doesn't have to explain everything, don't get me wrong, but it's just too little. It's the other end of the stick. I mean, it's too little, to the point where when it's done this way, the movie just loses substance and value to me, because it doesn't make you connect with anything. It's basically this very weird and otherworldly story that it has this very shiny wrapper around it, but when you know, look through the wrapper, it's actually only stuff randomly swimming there and nothing really connecting very cohesively. So that is just how I felt with the new movie and with the old movie pretty much. And there's so many moments in the new movie that there's just no music, just Ryan Gosling looking at things, walking around. And I get why we have those moments in movies, but this time there were so many, they dragged for so long. It was, again, very boring. Like, very boring, because there is a quantity to every moment in the movie that needs to be there, but here that quantity of minutes and that quantity of a moment, it just so stretched out that the quality just falls off, so to speak, if you know what I mean. I really hope that you can understand what I'm saying, guys. I'm trying to explain how I see things when it comes to these two movies. But between the first and the second, I think that a lot of things were approved upon and built upon in terms of information and the world. In the second one, I think that it didn't take anything from the first, but it did do a world justice and build more upon it. So things I like from the new movie are, the visual presentation, that hologram girlfriend of Ryan Gosling, the fact that she was programmed to feel, and she seemed very sentient pretty much. I mean, maybe she's made that way, she's made to learn, she's made to be individual companion to each person that has her, so she's gonna be different to each person that buys her pretty much. And it's of course interesting that Ryan Gosling wanted the companionship, he didn't want to be alone, and he so wanted to be that special person, not only a mere replica. That was cool. Of course, I enjoyed his character overall, I enjoyed the emotion that he had, but all of that he shows, that we see in these movies, just fell flat in the end when we don't have the background substance behind it, when we don't know how things are actually made and what can trigger consciousness in a way that we have consciousness. I just feel that all those things are just left too much to the imagination, like too much. It's okay to leave a lot of things to your imagination in movies, but not to the point where you have to come up with your own substance, that's not our job, that's the job of the movie to do. And for some people, what these movies present as a story, it's pretty much enough, but I'm just saying, for me, it's not. I just wish there's more layers to this, more structured world. You can find something in your own thoughts that you thought about through your life that you can, relate to, and you can even not relate to, but just to figure something out when you watch this movie, to have like a light bulb in your head even clicking when you see something. I mean, there's a lot of movies that do that, like let's say The Matrix. You can dissect The Matrix a lot of times to think about different things that some characters said, the world, how it's structured, and the Matrix itself, what it is. Matrix is, I think, very good example of how you can make a very interesting, very layered world with interesting characters, and you can explore how they work and what is about them that makes them special. It's kind of hard to understand, guys, but I think that let's say the movie or a franchise like The Matrix overall has a lot more and a lot better laid out ideas and a lot better layer upon layer world. Even when you think about Ghost in the Shell, I saw the original movie and I saw the Scarlett Johansson, movie, and I liked both of them. I enjoyed both of them, but of course what we see in the original animation, it's a lot deeper and a lot stronger. And what we had in the movie was just like 60% maybe of the deepness and of the the meat of it, the soul of it was explored, but not the whole thing. It was still enough for me to connect with the characters, with Scarlett Johansson's character, and how the world worked and how the story was laid out. For me, it was entertaining and more interesting and a bit better. It was still kind of hollow and shallow compared to the original material, but it's not to that extent, so it won't be good enough for me as a movie. So it's just not like the original animation. And here with Blade Runner, we just have original movie that for the most part is very shallow. For me, again, for you maybe not, but for me. And then we have a sequel that continues with that shallowness, and characters that just speak and say things. They're, for instance, evil, like Jared Leto's character. You know, he was evil, he was unpredictable, he did gruesome things to one of the replicas. He loved those creations, but he killed one of them, like, for no reason. I mean, he was explaining something, so he wanted to say, to sound very menacing, serious, and evil, and just to present how powerful he is. And he thought himself like a god, you know, creating those creatures. And he wanted to see what can be done so they can reproduce and so on. But I mean, he was so freaking shallow to me. He was just one-dimensional, just yeah. So oh, happy birthday, yeah. Like, okay, but I mean, I wasn't born yesterday, so that just like super, you know, super shallow, super one-dimensional to me. That's it. Robin Wright was just like, you do this and you do that, and you don't really matter to me, and why are you not listening? And then that replica came to kill her, and she is almost like not believing that this is happening, so she didn't really react accordingly to what was happening. She was very weak, very easily killed off. I understand that replicas are stronger than humans, but come on, those people should know what the heck they're doing. And those replicas maybe should have had some kind of a weakness that only people that are supposed to be working above them, you know, as an authority figure, to know how to disable them or something like that. So this was very strange. So that is it, guys. Both movies for me extremely not interesting. Sorry to say, I wanted to like them because nobody wants a movie to suck except they're really stupid. You know, how can you want something that is entertainment to suck? I just want to like them because I don't want to feel like I wasted my time with both of them. But at least now I know what they're about, which is awesome. Oh, and something that I forgot to say, the CGI recreation of Rachel, you know, in the new movie was spectacular. It's the best CGI human I think I've ever seen in my life. Her movement of the eyes and lips were kind of what it gave it away, you can say. And the lips were kind of smaller, although I saw how the character was made. You know, how the CGI was made. I watched that. It was awesome to look at, and how they scanned, you know, the scenes from the old movie so they can make perfect CGI representation of that. But then when I saw her, you know, walking towards Harrison Ford's character, I was like, okay, but her lips are kind of smaller, and the way that she's looking, the way that she's making the faces, that still looks like too soft. It's not moving quite like a human would move, so maybe they should have put more sensors on the face or something to capture more of the muscles. I don't know, but I can still tell. But it's still very, very awesome. And I purposely asked my mom, and I said, do you see something weird in this scene? You know, I just played her that part, and she's like, what weird? And I said, well, this person is not real. It's CGI. And she's like, what? But I watch movies and I love special effects. I love learning about special effects for a long time, so I can always spot something like that. Still. So let's see how James Cameron's gonna do the new avatars, because I'm so excited to see how that's gonna look like. Especially when we know that he took his time for so many years. Wow, I can't believe how many years have passed since then. So guys, thank you so very much for watching this video. I hope that you can understand me and my point. I try to explain as much as possible why I don't like these movies at all. So I hope you get my point, and you can of course still love them, still enjoy them. I just wanted to say that because a lot of times there's movies that everybody like flocks to them, and they're like, so awesome movies, just don't touch them, they're perfect, they're classics. But in reality, if we had now a movie like the first Blade Runner, just made, you know, with modern special effects, but if we had that made the same way, I don't think that anybody is gonna think that it's a masterpiece. Everybody gonna point out the lack of development, the lack of explanation, the lack of a lot of other things, pretty much. The lack of real substance because of the lack of the other things. A lot of people like to put old movies on the pedestal. A lot of times you just don't see that they're not really as perfect as you think they are. Not all old movies are great. Some old movies that I watch, they keep my attention from start to finish, and I can rewatch them and rewatch them and rewatch them, and they're still hold very much so in terms of pacing, characters, everything, and they are even more engaging and interesting than today's movies. But I just think that Blade Runner is not one of those movies. So that is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, if you'd like to support me, you can just like, share. You can become my patron if you like. Check out my t-shirt store. Whatever, if you like it. Hope we understand each other very well. Keep it clean in the comments. And till next time with me, Gary G Reviews.